What's up, JEFusion fans? This is Philip and welcome back to another video. So let's talk Dawn Brothers once again. And we are going to focus on the dynamic between Taro and Sonoi. Now, the preview for episode 13 already shows us that, they are going to find out that they're each other's enemies, right? Now, obviously, it sounds like a spoiler, but I don't think so because it's already been built up from the start. It's not a matter of if it's gonna happen, what's gonna happen. We already know that, really. It's only a matter of when. And it turns out it's gonna happen in episode 13. Now, this matchup between Don Momotaro and Sonoi are, it's already been there from the beginning, as I've said earlier, and it's going to come sooner or later anyway. So again, that's why I said it's not much of a spoiler if it's really predictable from the beginning. But what I'm going to focus on this video is the interesting parallels between the Dawn Brothers, Dawn Brothers characters, and their, what you can call counterparts from Kamen Rider Faiz. Now, obviously, both shows were written by Toshiki Inoue, and I believe that the concepts that he used for Kamen Rider Faiz, he's also applying to Dawn Brothers as we speak. And this is why we see the dynamic between uh, Taro and Sonoi, it would be very much similar to that of Takumi Inui and Yuji Kiba from Kamen Rider Faiz. So if you guys haven't watched Kamen Rider Faiz, go ahead and watch it. The whole series is out on the internet, and uh, you will see that their interactions very much are the same as Taro and Sonoi's. So again, let's talk about that. So we already know that they're kind of rivals ever since episode 1. However, when they're untransformed, at least, so they have also met each other a few times. However, they don't know each other's alter egos. But by episode 13, so this is when the big reveal happens, at least for both of them. As viewers, again, we already know that it is coming. Now, again, this also happened in Kamen Rider Faiz when uh, Takumi learns that Yuji is an orphanoch, and Yuji learns that Takumi is Kamen Rider Faiz. And before that, Takumi and Yuji have also been fighting each other, but when they're outside of battle, every time they meet, they have this understanding of each other, right? Now, this is still very much a theory, but we can already tell that Taro is very much more like a Noto than he's a human being. I mean, what kind of baby suddenly falls down from the sky in a peach-shaped capsule, growing up to be, basically Superman? And yeah, uh, Taro is pretty much, we can say that Taro is pretty much a Noto, or at least something similar at this point. But yeah, so we do know that as a Noto, Sonoi also has like superhuman abilities, obviously, and they're very similar in that. Now, what's interesting about Sonoi is that, yes, in battle, whenever a human is possessed and turns into a Hitotsuki, so this is when his rivalry with Taro comes out, because they have their different views on how they handle Noto. So Taro wants to simply separate the Noto or destroy the Noto while being able to save the humans. But for Sonoi, in order to, destroy the Hitotsuki, he also has to destroy the human, which is why whenever they're in combat, whenever there's a Hitotsuki around, so it's actually a three-way battle. So it's the Dawn Brothers versus the Hitotsuki versus the Noto, right? So at least when we look at the Dawn Brothers and the Noto, so it's whoever gets to the monster first, right? Whoever defeats the Hitotsuki first. That's their deal. Now, in Kamen Rider Faiz, so Takumi has been fighting Orphanox because, well, he sees them as a threat to the human race. However, uh, Yuji kind of, is in a gray area. I mean, he does protect innocent humans, but he is not, how you say, avert to the idea of, you know, offing a few humans who offended him. Case in point, Masato Kusaka, So, again, uh, there are striking similarities between these two characters from Faiz, and then comparing them to Dawn Brothers. We can say, that uh, Dawn Brothers is the Super Sentai version of Kamen Rider Faiz. Again, coming from the same writer, Toshiki Inoue is basically just converting Kamen Rider Faiz and adapting Sentai elements into it so that it does fit the Super Sentai genre. And again, for me, that works really, really well, and that's what makes Dawn Brothers an exciting show to watch in terms of plot. Compared to its predecessor, which is Zenkaiger, well, Zenkaiger is quite predictable in a way, but how Toshiki Inoue wrote the Kamen Rider Faiz, and then again using those concepts into Dawn Brothers, so we do know that there are going to be twists ahead. And like I've said, this confrontation between Taro and Sonoi, it's pretty much coming soon, but we all know that it's part of that twist. And what's interest I think for what's going to be interesting to see is how Taro and Sonoi will interact with each other now that they're going to find out who each other are, right? So Taro is going to find out that Sonoi is the Noto who, or what, at least one of the Noto who's fighting them, and of course, uh, you know, Sonoi uh, wants to finish off Don Momotaro because they're always in the way. They're in each other's way, really, to put it simply. And now that they're going to find out that they've been at each other's throats all this time, so that's really going to affect the sort of friendship that they've developed over these past few meetings. Sure, we've seen them interact twice or thrice, but that deep connection was already there. So they've meet, 2 to 3 times as civilians, but again, it, they they have this deep connection and understanding with each other. That's why, in episode 12, I believe, so we can see them fast friends. So how are they going to interact with each other now that they know, now that it's revealed to each other that they've been enemies all this time? And is this going to affect how they're going to confront the Juto and the Hitotsuki? Well, definitely with the Hitotsuki, the rivalry is going to be a lot more intense because, well, at least for Taro, having grown up as having been raised by a human and have being raised in the human world despite technically being not from this world. So he definitely does his best to protect people the way the way that we viewers would expect. However, uh, Sonoi as a Noto is fighting to protect his own world, which is in danger because of humans having such strong desires, which sends strange negative energies that threaten the world of the Noto. And basically, what Sonoi is doing, or at least the Noto in general, what they're doing is simply fighting to protect their own world, while Taro, again, having been raised as a human in the human world, is fighting to protect this world. Assuming that we live in the same universe as the Dawn brothers, so that's what happens. But again, compare that to Kamen Rider Faiz. At least we do see Takumi more on the side of humans, but Yuji has been more of an orphan guy, or at least in the later part, of Kamen Rider Faiz. Especially nearing the end of the show, he eventually takes over Smart Brain, and you know what he's doing is basically trying to protect at least the innocent orphanox, if that makes any sense. So again, uh, if we're going to compare Sonoi and Yuji in that sense, they're basically doing what they can to survive as what they are. So these interactions between these major characters make their shows, their respective shows, interesting, and that's, I believe, what's going to make Dawn Brothers a great show, because, well, Kamen Rider Faiz, I think wasn't really that popular, but they really had interesting ideas. No, it's probably something that you would consider quite mature for a kids show. Again, both Kamen Rider and Dawn Brothers are kids shows in general, and of course, the majority of the audience would be kids. But as adults, if you watch them, you would have a completely different understanding and appreciation for the kind of stories that they present. And, you know, being a tokusatsu viewer for so many years now, like watching Kamen Rider 5, let's say, I remember seeing it around 2006, around that time, and then years later, it's been 16 years, and I see Dawn Brothers, like, well, at least during that time when I saw Kamen Rider 5, well, so I was 16 and already have been thinking a bit more mature. So let's say compared to when I was watching Kamen Rider Ryuki a few years earlier, which meant I was a bit younger and maybe a bit more immature. But again, seeing these concepts play out now that I'm more mature than I was, so I really think there's still something interesting to see as adults, for Dawn Brothers. And again, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what kind of interactions, you know, Taro and Sonoi specifically are going to have going forward. I do see it playing out very much the same way as Takumi and Yuji, but what kind of circumstances are they going to experience going forward? What kind of things are they going to have to go through? You know, are they going to end up, as very close friends? Like are the Dawn brothers, at least, in looking at the Taro and Sonoi, are they going to eventually become one single team, or are they going to completely, are they going to be, in the final battle, you would say, is Sonoi going to be the final boss, and whatnot, or maybe he's going to be more like Kiba, who, or Yuji rather, who is, well, of course, initially we see uh, Yuji Kiba as a more heroic character, but in the later uh, half of Faiz, so he becomes more, how you would say, disdained. he his disdain for humans grew much more, especially, well, no thanks to Masato's shenanigans, but he eventually takes the side of the Orphanox, but in the end he still chooses to sacrifice his life to save humanity. So is it going to be the same way with Sonoi? Well, we're really not sure if it's going to happen, or Toshiki Inoue is going to plan something different. But again, it's exciting to say the least. I highly recommend that you watch Dawn Brothers if you haven't, and if you are not up to date yet, well, go ahead and watch the new episodes. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, please don't forget to leave a like, comment, share this video, subscribe, and don't forget that notification bell so you get the latest from JEFusion. This has been Philip, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.